sorrow, felt pain, and a lot of sorrow got betrayed. So packed, I didn't even have my heart broke. Living confused, about to lose hope. Cops got me on the side of the road like a sideshow. Need an antidote before I croak. Now I'm setting fire to really bad blues, but it's guitar smoke. Rebel with no cause, trying to find direction. The world got me vexed. Picked up a bad liquor habit that's hereditary from depression. Feel like my life was on fire, trying to find an exit. Now look, 10 G's plus a good record. Sometimes I'm calling work as a soldier, trying to find a good ship. Just when you in hell, how did you excel? Wisdom the breath of life, I believe in fairy tale. Listen well to what I tell. No calling can cause pain. Something that a rebel knows very well. Can't you tell I was sent from the Lord? Got a tongue like a two-edged sword, with a style that they might just record. The only thing equal is the curse for the wicked and the righteous reward. Have mercy on the many, don't see it separated from the tares. Now on my prayers, and it's so big. A rebel, take the world by word of mouth. U.P.K, we the rebels that you heard about. Yeah. And it ain't gonna stop till 100 virgins in the house and I'm handing verdicts out. Yeah, right, heard a clout without a shadow of a doubt. These devils hitting licks off us. Fuck the bank, I'm about to store the clock and take it over. Can't sweet talk us, cannot stop us. Plus I know the feds watch us. I tell the people that they church full of witch doctors. When it's in prison, they stop violence. Meanwhile, U.P.K turn the rebels into rock wallers. They leave for mighty men, and now we understand things that never truly made sense. Like why I'm crying at this funeral for a criminal, knowing he ain't innocent. It's fucked up, but my boot shot standing between two priests, about to blaze on their heads, call it tough love. Look out for niggas just love, and wouldn't touch a white bitch with OJ's black gloves. Father, forgive me for my error. I'm forever by your side. Living perfect of all my flaws. This the reason I'm alive. Thank God for this truth. Cause for a long time it's a rebel without a cause. Look, man, first time I'm making planetary Johanna, man, hit 3807. Rebel without a cause. My little daughter with me. Open the door, he was dropping the truth on me and all that. Rebel without a cause. Man, you know, you do your time, we taking them out, it's training hand-to-hand combat. Rebel without a cause. It's the reason I'm alive. Thank God for this truth. Cause for a long time it's a rebel without a cause. We're already dead. We're already beaten down. We've been beaten down for 400 years. We already got the wounds inside and outside our body. How you gonna hurt us? You cannot threaten us. You cannot frighten us. We live in the most frightening places, under the most frightening conditions. We are immune to fear. We are immune to harm. You see what I'm saying? You have stepped into a cesspool. You're the only one gonna get infected.
Neath the stones that once was my home, bleach neath the stones that once was my home.
Fuck Trump, this for sitting Bull Geronimo. Blast from the past, it's the last of the Taino. Return of the prodigal, pen game bionicle. Writing the King's Chronicle, lifestyles iconical. Y'all too solid, nigga, you already know. Don't fuck with fuckboys, pendejos, or Molly. Then I keep vominos, crushing mics like styrofoam, snatching rapper souls and stashing bodies in catacombs. I left the world and I ain't never going back again. Roll with righteous men like General Mahayman. Taught me to maneuver through bullshit you couldn't factor in. No matter how hard the walk, I'll never pack it in. Untouched in the lions and battle Leviathan. Cause I ain't never been a homeborn slave or a hireling. Living in Babylon, a concrete Amazon, slamming Qurans in front of Farrakhan or Ramadan. And so you vagabonds can't touch the air I'm on. I'm tired of you niggas playing dress up. This ain't Comic-Con. That's the type of shit that I'm on. You want to battle, then I'll do you as the Book of Kisama. Here they come, yo. Here they come. Here they come, yo. Here they come. Here they come. Here they come, yo. Here they come. Here they come. Here they come. Here they come. Come. This or that. This or that. Get with this or that. This or that. This or that. This or that. This, that. The black sheep who walk to the beat of a different drum, tune of a different hum, guitar with a different strum. Seen a few days, now it's looking darker than plums, cause these crackers try to snatch your soul like Shang Tsung. Fuck the police, sit down for national anthems, kidnapping the rap game and hold it for ransom. Still one of the dopest MCs that be under the sun. My notes can explode your whole galaxy like a Samsung. Every verse is just monstrous, flowing more than hydrolysis. Walk with a pair of balls that's bigger than hippopotamus, killing this shit like Spartacus, Determinus and Romulus, taking over your continent, conquering every province, rule with an iron rod, totalitarian dominance. Bend the knee or else suffer the consequence. Spit fire like a dungeon dragon, stay hungry like I came out of land with a famine. Set my own trends, never jump on no bandwagons like you corny motherfuckers sporting female fashion. You know talent, having swagger, jacking, lacking passion. Need your ass kicked, ass backwards, stabbing, half-ass rapping, full-fledged faggots. I'm feeding you the maggots after autographing your casket. Sick of you. None of y'all can fuck with the captain. Verbal assassin, toe tagging all of you bastards. Close caption. Or that, this, or that. Get with this, or that, this, or that. Get with come, yo. Here they come. Here they come. Here they come. Here they come. Come. This, or that. This, or that. This, or that. This, or that. Engine number 9 on the New York Transit line. If my train goes off the track, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. Back on the scene, crispy and clean. You can try it if you want, but you won't.
I don't want to set the world on fire, honey. I love you too much. I just want to start a great big flame down in your heart.
It's different.
You see, I don't want to set the world on fire. I just want to start a flame in your heart.
That shit, burn this bitch down, raise it, even to the ground, nigga. Fuck that shit, just burn this bitch down, raise it, even to the nigga. Fuck that shit, better burn this bitch down, raise it, even to the ground, nigga. Fuck that shit, they better burn this bitch down, raise it, even to the ground. This for Breonna Taylor. System failure. I mean the system failed us. They treat our lives careless. It made us careless. They think our youth stupid, but they really fearless. How you gon' police us when you really fast? I'm at the edge, my friends are dead, I'm feeling careless. Pleading for our lives, and they be acting careless. Now your fucking city gotta burn, cause you don't wanna hear us. When a nigga say that he can't breathe, hands up, don't shoot, no please. They ain't give a fuck. They just got back and they squeezed. They took their foot off of our necks, now they applying their knees. Man, fuck the NFL, niggas need their own leagues. And if you don't know what I mean, then catch up to my speed. Shouldn't the cracker make $1 while our people gon' bleed? Shouldn't the cracker make $1 while our people gon' bleed? So I said, fuck that shit. Burn this bitch down. Raise it, even to the ground. Nigga, fuck that shit. Better burn this bitch down. Raise it, even to the nigga, fuck that shit. Better burn this bitch down. Raise it, even to the ground. Nigga, fuck that shit. Better burn this bitch down. Raise it, even to the ground. I don't want to set the world on fire. I just want to start a flame in your heart. I don't want to set the world on fire. nation and desert my king. And they can't fuck with a damn thing I bring. I said they can't fuck with a damn thing I bring. And that's the facts, nigga. Real rap, nigga. That's a fact, nigga. I ain't have to die to meet the devil. Angels fell and landed in the ghetto. The earth was given to the hands of devils. Then we seen the rise of the devil. We fell for the lies of the devil. When we got high was the devil. I looked into the eyes of the devil. I ain't have to die to meet the devil.
I remember I was only 13 when I met the demon. Gave me a deuce and a bundle of cocaine. Told me to sell to my people, make sure you keep him fiending. If any try to show you, make sure that you leave him leaking. He said, I'ma hold you down when problems pop up. How you got me moving this dope? Want me in lockup? He said, don't you want the Benz vertible with the top cover? Yeah. Stop bitching, get in that kitchen, let it rock up. Bitches love the dope boy, especially when it's pop up. I know you know Ron. You the plug from by the block up? I'll tell you a little secret, make sure that you keep your mouth shut. Ron got a Lexus, crib in Philly and Texas. Trip to the Bahamas, just got a bit for his mama. He fucking up in comments, be honest, he's singing decent though. I hear you, but I just seen Ron about a week ago. Fat, he ain't looking too good, his knees is kinda slow. I asked him why the struggle, he got stuck up for his bundle. But them 6 hollow chips in his legs what made him crumble. At least he got the house and mama is living good. Said the feds took it all, he right back in the hood. I see you try to play me, you gave us crack in the 80s. Made us abort our babies and making hoes out our ladies. I know you got me gravy, but Satan, you must be crazy. It's gonna take more than cars wanna amaze me. I seen niggas shoot for the stars, but being lazy. Never get their head at the clouds, so you don't faze me. I guarantee that you won't regret it. Remember I said it. No, you could dead it. What you saying, I can't win? No, devil, nice try. So until we meet again,
I ain't have to die to meet the devil. Angels fell and landed in the ghetto. The earth was given to the hands of devils. Then we seen the rise of the devil. We fell for the lies of the devil. When we got high was the devil. I looked into the eyes of the devil. I ain't have to die to meet the devil. I ain't religious or superstitious. But we've been getting fucked up, put to the side like a mistress. Police patrolling why? Because prison became a business. They murder one of us and they start talking about forgiveness. We think that it's alright because we got public assistance. If this ain't hell, dog, what is this? Where was all lives mattered when they killed Osama? There was no peace talk like the Dalai Lama. Bush dropping bombs saying he gon' bring the drama. They got justice, man, they even caught the Boston bomber. But when we ride, they send the military in armor. When we fight oppression, then our people die a martyr. You reap what you sow, some people call it karma. When Christ return, y'all gon' get this harvest like a farmer. Don't tell me don't bring up the past no more. They still trying to settle the score with a side of Shakur. I changed my life and I'm just trying to live life right. But at night I look behind me and see flashing lights, patting me down. You got nothing that's poking me right. I don't smoke or push pills, I gave up my vice. So Mr. Officer, why you wanna take my life? And your honor, why you gave a homeboy's life? I've been wondering why you shot a homeboy twice. Pussy with a gun screaming out that he got a knife. He came from Habibi's spot, it was chicken and rice. Shit's tripe, I'm just giving visuals like Skype. And Trayvon, Mike Brown, the Kai Gurley, Eric Garner, Sean Bell, Philando, Olden, Sterling, Jaquan McDonald. The white man is so devilish. Ask Hammurabi, he'll tell you who the devil is. The white man is so devilish. Ask Hammurabi, he'll tell you who the devil is. I ain't have to die to meet the devil. Angels fell and landed in the ghetto. The earth was given to the hands of devils. Then we seen the rise of the devil. We fell for the lies of the devil. When we got high was the devil. I looked into the eyes of the devil. I ain't have to die to meet the devil. I ain't have to die to meet the devil. Angels fell and landed in the ghetto. The earth was given to the hands of devils. Then we seen the rise of the devil. I pray for the demise of the devil. Lord knows I despise every devil. I looked into the eyes of the devil. He said, I pray to die every devil.
See, I've been in here for a little minute. You know what I'm saying? And I see niggas, they like to talk a lot. They like to claim leadership. They like to claim this and that. You know what I'm saying? They like to be above what they really is and have authority. They don't really need that authority. They don't really know what to do with that leadership. You understand? You hold hands with this white ass. Need to stop and ask you. Give a damn what you talk about. Don't give a fuck what you believe. Nigga gotta stand up and serve my God. We don't pray on our knees, nigga. Yeah. Everybody ain't with all that peace off. Everybody ain't with all that. Let Mike on boy, ass shit. Stop and ass shit. My nigga serious. When they hit us with dope and kill us with crack, what the fuck with your leaders? I'm curious. You cashed out on your blood, traded you in and bought a new bitch. See, that shit the prophets, I tell you the scheme. If you don't wake up, you gon' die in your dreams. I say your boss won't tell you no more. I swear these crackers try to kill us slow. Just spoke to a nigga and fed and up on parole because of the COVID. It feel like the hoes in this world that don't go together. Nowhere it's golden and ghetto. I'm in the city blazing with my niggas. Just told the devil the score never settle. Yeah, need the prophets. I'm tired of these niggas keep talking about, you respect my religion, I respect your religion. Boy, your ass need to stop and ask you the prophets. Like we all come together. You know what I'm saying? They say God so loved the world. God so loved the world, and boy, your ass need to stop and ask you. Give a damn what you talk about. Don't give a fuck what you believe. You gotta stand up and serve my God. We'll pray on our knees, nigga. Yeah. Hey, gentlemen, we'll pray on our knees, nigga. Stand up. You know what I'm saying? Boy, your ass need to stop and ask shit. Oh, I'm gonna step up silent for show. For the fake niggas, stay silent. I got it. Let's go. I ain't taking no loss. Ain't no talking, but we got the flow. Ain't no peace, just play with your own. I'ma be low to the right arm. Tell her we can't keep it slate. And I can never let bygone be bygone. Got you, baby mother on high. Baby pants through the fire. Ask you the prophets. That baby so belong to the Lord. I dare you aboard it. Never will fail, bitch. I can afford it. I prepare start, you bring me my water. Push your leaders weak, let them lies slip through their feet. Their ass need to stop their ass, see the prophets. That's just the reality, Christians. I'm sorry to hurt your feelings. I know your pastor lied to you every Sunday for 30 years. But that's what the church is for. That's why they exist to lie. The money out of your pockets. Boy, your ass need to stop and ask you to give a damn what you talk about. Don't give a fuck what you believe, nigga. Gotta stand up and serve my God. We don't pray on our knees, nigga. We don't pray on our knees, nigga. Gotta stand up, serve my God. We don't pray on our knees, nigga. All jokes aside, you know how niggas be like, I'm this and that for life, bro. This and that for life. I'm always for life, nigga. This is blood oath. Hey, yo, Madara. Here go a class for you, my nigga. 140 for the rebel. The world's turning its back over. I'm a cripple. We got soldiers. He got soldiers. But I got different ones. Ain't no way out. I tell you what. Don't pray for nothing. Nothing in the curse. We can't forget it was for me. Remain in the trenches. Trust in the Lord, but please forgive me for the times that I did. If rankings give me, have your respect to your oppressor. Be about your business. This loyalty to damn sins. Look, trying to pick up with a blind friend. They said there'll be many matches. I'm just grinding for my time share. The devils they plan fair. They hunt you like bad pill. But ain't no getting off the game like you munchie. You take that oath, it's a bandit. They try to deal death to a priest. You won't make it out in work. So you can stand. Just make sure you got the heart. Say your name 3 times. And it's death to his partner. So how you feel about this truth out of show? These acting like you think that nigga. I should walk out. Even your own people go this show. And I know it said they hate you for my name. You better keep it on. Ain't no more guessing, ain't no more questions. Make sure my election till I'm tucked away like George Jetson. Murder for capital, now it's murder at the Capitol. The world is amazing, we like fuck 'em, raise it. I pity those watching life as it goes by. Be giving mercy in his life, I don't know why. It's pump smoke, never tried over it. The dead at home, my brother be the dead. It's all I don't either fold or salute, my nigga. Salute. They like, how you stay focused? I told him I'm motivated because of you, my nigga. Brotherhoods and weapons, still got weapons on the scene. And I never do my niggas like Bishop did right here. Never mind in all beliefs, they under anesthesia. Shorty say she need me, say she wanna let that love go. So I let that love go. But if I bring you to my bed, that's a blood oath. So, how you feel about this truth out of show? This ain't the life you think, nigga. I should want even your own people go this home. And the Lord said they hate you for my name, so you better keep it on. Yeah.
SHALAM, Israel. It's the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Come out 1 West, 25th Street, Harlem, New York, under command GEN.YAHANNA. Since 1969, we've been teaching so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians our true identity according to the Bible, which is the Lord's chosen people. And it's in the 12 tribes of Israel. And according to these scriptures, it's the only people upon the face of this earth that the God of the Bible gives a damn about. And of course, that our oppressor, the same man that invaded these shores in 1492, you know what I'm saying, the same one who put us in the slave trade next to our black and Hispanic brothers, the same ones who have been forcing us into poverty for over 400 years. It's like, and the same ones who rule over us till this day is the devil the Bible speaks of. And today is a Tuesday night brotherhood class. So we got a couple of news articles we're going to be touching on concerning, what's going on within the reservations, and really articles that, for the most part, it's something that affects all of us as, people, whether you are Indigenous, Black, or Hispanic. We're going to start out with this boarding schools article, because the U.S. government has been, drawing a lot of attention to them supposedly wanting to make right what it is that they have done to our young ones, and really to our communities, because the boarding schools had such a long-lasting impact upon us as a whole. Slovakia, you understand? But we're going to learn about, why it is that these things happen to us. And like we've been talking about in the past, we're going to learn why it is that our oppressor is, making the notion that it is that he wants to right his wrong. Because we know damn well that based off the spirit of our oppressor, based off the spirit of this man who has been dwelling among us and oppressing us for over 400 years, that he has no real intention in correcting what it is that he had done to us so long ago in these boarding schools, especially when, any instance is brought up of something that has happened to us in the past, and our oppressors simply say, oh, what was in the past was in the past. You need to forget about that. You understand? It has to be forgiven. There's nothing we can do now. You know what I'm saying? So if these devils have that kind of mentality, we got to actually sit back and analyze and ask ourselves, what is it that these people want? If they've been saying this whole time about slavery, and about the theft of our land, the theft of the Hispanics' land, if they've been saying this whole time, well, what's in the past is in the past. You understand? Then what is it that these people want now? You understand? Or why is it that they're doing this? So this is an article from the Inquirer. It's called Rosebuds Sue to Receive the Remains of Their Children Who Died at the Former Carlisle Indian School. The boy called One That Kills Horse arrived in the first group of children brought from South Dakota to the Carlisle Indian Industrial School, stumbling off a train shortly before midnight on October 6, 1879. So, our oppressor being the devil that he is, he likes to try to paint pictures of what it is that we were going through, and of course putting his own little spin on things. You understand? But articles, of course, letting us know supposedly what time it was that the young brother had arrived at that boarding school after being so ruthlessly ripped away from his family. Like the dozens who came with him and the thousands who came later, the 12-year-old was quickly shorn of his hair and heritage. The school renamed him Alvin, and after he died 2 years later, that was the name inscribed on his grave marker. It's lucky. So I'm going to read that last bit of the article. And after he died 2 years later, that was the name inscribed on his grave marker. You know what I'm saying? So this young brother who had, a glorious, indigenous name or meaning to his name, was sadly stripped of that and given a name of an oppressor. You understand? Not only given the name of an oppressor, but as well as, being forced into accepting the customs and the culture of these damn devils, which so many of our people have sadly fallen, prey to. So many of us have gone out into the world and it's like adopted these different ways of our oppressor in really all things. You understand? And it's something that has happened before, the boarding schools started. You understand? This is something that's been going on since Columbus invaded. You understand? This is something that's been in the making for hundreds of years. And, this was just another step that it is that our oppressor took in order to try to strip us from our glorious heritage. You understand? Our glorious culture and our customs that it is that was passed down to us from the Most High God. You understand? I'm going to get this scripture real quick. It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 32. You understand? The book of Deuteronomy is such a heavy book because it goes into what it is that would happen to us as a nation if we chose not to keep the law, statutes, and commandments it is that the Lord had given to us. I said, and it's a great way for us to be able to differentiate who it is that the children of Israel are based off of the curses it is that we fall under as a people. Because all these curses in this book right here, it's something that blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians go through. Not only the curses, you understand, but as well as analyzing history and seeing how it is that our culture and our customs matched up to the Israelites in the Bible before our oppressor was able to change it, as well as looking into archaeology, you understand, going into the color scriptures, just going into all kinds of things in this book right here that lets us know who it is that we are. We just got to simply come back to it. We got to stop following in these philosophies and ideals of our oppressor, of us simply being savages. You understand? Because all these different
slacky philosophies it is our oppressor puts out there, it's all simply to, pull us further away from the truth. Slacky. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, and verse 32. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people. So just like this young brother was snatched away from his family, you understand, those who truly cared for him and loved him, you understand, that put clothes on his back and fed and bathed him and protected him from the wickedness of the world. You understand, he was snatched away from that loving home, that loving black and brown home by our oppressor, and shoved into some disgusting, pedophilic, abusive boarding school with a bunch of devils overseeing him like he was some, prisoner or animal. You understand? And this was a young brother, and sadly, many, many, many young brothers and sisters went through the same thing. You understand? And one's really even younger than that brother. And then I shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long. You understand? And the parents of this young brother, as well as many, many, many other young brothers and sisters, you understand, who had their children snatched away from them against their will, sadly, we didn't have anything it is that we could do to, protect them. You understand? All we could do is just watch them be snatched away and hear of the horrors that were going on behind them barbed wire fences. You understand? Behind those walls, you understand? Inside of those, absolutely destructive buildings it is that they called residential schools or boarding schools, or whatever the hell it is that they wanted to try to label them as. You understand? All it is that we could do as a people, as a family, as a father or a mother, is simply pray for them. You understand? To hope that it is that our little one would come out alive. You understand? Forget being, unfazed by the horrors of what was going on inside of them institutes. You understand? But to simply just hope that they came out alive, came out breathing, that we'd be able to hug their warm bodies once again. And that is, countless families that have gone through that. And not only did they go through it during the time, but it's something that, like a parent losing their child, especially if you don't have the knowledge of what it is that actually happened to them. Like with all the children it is that the U.S. government simply said went missing, or, they ran off and they never came back. I thought they went to y'all. I thought they came back home. You understand? Those parents that never found out what happened to their children because our oppressor simply covered it up. Because our oppressor simply, buried them on the grounds without notifying the families. Like it just said, oh, Slacky. Damn. I was like, it hasn't brought it up yet in the article, but let's go ahead and bring it out. You said there was one young brother who they had buried. Yes, at one of these institutes, at one of these prisons, and when they dug up the grave and uncovered the body, there were two children inside of that coffin, and they didn't know if one of them was the young brother that they were trying to send back home. They didn't know if they were two completely different children who they had no record of, And yet these families will never be able to get the type of closure it is that they need in order to, move on to or to seek justice for what it is that has happened. And the parents of these children are, long past for most of them. So some of us still have, great grandparents or even, aunts and uncles who gone through these hellish things and live to tell the tale, and that's simply, one of the worst things it is that could happen is a parent is to not know the fate of your child. To sit there and stay up at night like, damn, I wonder if they're okay. I know that boarding school was hell. Damn, I wonder if are they starving out in the wilderness? Are there wolves and coyotes surrounding them? Are they dying of thirst? Are they sick? Are they seeking shelter? Has someone found them? You understand that's what it is that we had to go through. And it's something that will never be justified in the kingdom of America. And it's something that our indigenous leaders will never, ever try to truly seek justice for, to try to rectify. And then I shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long. There shall be no might in thine hand. And so just like all those parents and even grandparents, because a lot of us, would be basically sent off to our grandparents so it is we could try to escape the military and their campaign of abducting our brothers and sisters. Saying none of them had any kind of power to be able to stop either the police, the citizens or the military that came to snatch away the youth of our communities. Our future generations. And even after all of that, and with all of these bodies that have been unearthed and up in Canada and as well as in the US, these mass graves of children, there is not going to be any kind of justice for them. America is not going to give us any kind of justice. They're the ones that did the deed. How is it that they're gonna, somehow rectify it? They have never made right whatever wrong it is that they have done to us as a nation, as well as the Canadian government. They never have. All this, news about the U.S. government, doing studies and looking into what it is that has happened, and just doing supposedly whatever it is that they can in order to make right and to seek justice. It's all just a ploy to get us to be like, damn, you know what? America ain't half bad, yo. They're looking into these deaths. They delivered the bodies back home to us. They went out of their way. They gave their own money in order to do so. They're going to hold accountable the older generations by simply saying what they did was terrible. They're going to do all of that. So, maybe they aren't so bad. Maybe, just maybe, America is changing. Maybe we can come up in the world and be more than savages tucked off in the reservations. Maybe we won't get harassed in the cities and towns of America any longer and be able to dwell amongst these people like ordinary civilians. That's all a bunch of baloney. And the sad part is, that all of this could have simply been prevented. It's in the mass graves of children, the abduction of children, it's in the molestation, the assimilation, the abuse, the tearing apart of Black and brown families. All of that could have simply been avoided. But because not only the Lord was not with us, but as well as the fact that tribal leaders did not do what it is that they could in order to truly save our youth. And when I say our youth, I mean, you understand, like the poor, you understand, those who cannot defend themselves, those who are not in cahoots with America, in cahoots with the U.S. government. So we're going to skip down. I'm going to skip down a couple paragraphs. It says the weeks-long endeavor marks the largest repatriation yet from the tidy military-style cemetery on the grounds of what is now the Army War College. It comes at a moment of great reckoning. Amid the national cries against white supremacy and the grief and outrage that's erupting over the discovery of the remains of 751 people, mostly children, at the site of a former Canadian boarding school. Weeks after the unmarked graves of 215 children were found at a different school there. You understand? So this article lets us know off the jump of why it is that America is actually doing this. You understand? Because they got racial tension, it's like tension going on, and something it didn't include is that America is prepping for war against Russia, China, and Africa, as well as some of the Middle East. So they're going to need all the savages that they can on their side. You understand? But all this is simply just a way to show, or to, make the indigenous tribes perceive that America is a changed woman, is a changed power in the earth, and is actually looking to justify what it is that it's like to, make right what it is that they have done. And the fact that it is that 751 bodies were found at a former school, and that's just one of them. And before that, it was the 215 bodies that were found. Like, there should be an outcry by our leaders, by our tribal leaders, by our religious leaders, by our elders, all of these different people it is that we look up to as a community. They should all just be on top of it. You know what I'm saying? Demanding justice, demanding that something happens that would rectify what it is that has been done to our children. But yeah, I guarantee you, not a single goddamn leader is gonna actually, demand something that is gonna, actually be qualified as justice. Yes, and that's the leaders it is that we look up to. They'll simply tell us to pray on it, and to mourn and to forgive, and it's a new day. That's not the type of leadership it is that we need as a people. We've been praying on it and forgiving and mourning for over 400 years. Where has that gotten us? Not only we've been doing that, but we've also been adapting to America's society and culture. But where has that gotten us? That has brought us nothing but grief and death in these lands, in this kingdom. And if we continue to follow these leaders, it's going to continue to bring grief and death. There's going to be another 751 bodies found in a mass grave. Except this time it's going to be a fresh grave. Except this time it's going to be the white supremacists that are fed up with these savages, speaking up against what it is that has been done to them and simply lashing out. It wouldn't be the first time that they've done it. It's certainly not going to be the last time, that they would do such a thing. That's the spirit of these people. And for us to follow so-called leaders that promote us joining to this kind of spirit in this earth, then they should not be qualified to lead us as a nation. It don't matter how many tribes it is we're broken up into. It don't matter if we associate ourselves with another tribe or not. Any kind of leader that is promoting unification with those who have destroyed and oppressed us for over 400 years, they're not a leader for us. And as far as I'm concerned, the only leaders, or like a leader for us, is Commanding General Yahanna and the I.S.U.P.K. You understand? Because we do not falter. We will not make compromises in order to please our oppressor. You understand? We stand for our nation, for our people, so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. And we're going to continue to stand for our people until Christ returns, or Yahushua in Hebrew. I'll get another scripture real quick. We're going to skip down to verse 41, Deuteronomy 28 and 41. Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity. You understand? So we're going to be having sons and daughters, you understand, be enjoying them, being married, and then all of a sudden they're going to be snatched away from us. Just as those 751 children were, just as those 215 children, as well as the countless other children who are not documented, that America doesn't even, it's like not only America, but as well as Canada, don't even have an accurate body count on, you understand? They would be snatched away from us and be made into slaves. You understand? They will be taken into captivity, which is what happened to those children, to our little ones. They were made into slaves. That's why it is that, you understand, those boarding schools, constantly had them doing different kind of, menial work, you understand, such as building and crafting. You understand? They were simply training them to be little future slaves, to simply go into the work industry and to pump out whatever it is that America needed in order to thrive and to survive. Not only did they do that, but they also treated those children any way it is that they saw fit. You understand? Because that's what you can do with a slave. You can do any and everything it is that you can set your mind to. Whatever amount of cruelty it is that you want to inflict upon a slave, you do so. You understand? However it is you want to indoctrinate them, you do so. That's what our oppressor did to us. That's why there's countless stories of the abuse it is that happened inside those boarding schools. That's why it is there was never any kind of justice that was given to those children as they grew up trying to seek justice. That's why it is that there was no justice given to the families who experience the consequences of what it is that had happened to those brothers and sisters that survived those boarding schools. And it's such a sad thing that our tribal leaders have not done a damn thing to really seek justice for us. Yes, and there ain't been no talks, no demands, no threats, none of that by our leaders to, show that they really give a damn about us as a community. So it's due past time for us to stop looking up to these so-called leaders to, guide us through these hard times and to, bring us up out of this condition, because they have been failing for so damn long. I mean, it's damn near like how our people are with the Christian and Catholic Church. Saying we look up to them to lead and to guide us to, a better life. At the same time, they're destroying us on a whole new level. You understand? With the pedophilia, the homosexuality, the drug addiction, whoredom, the hatred is that you develop for your people. These so-called leaders are instituting that same thing it is that Christianity and Catholics, and the Catholics have forced upon our people for so long. It's nothing new. You understand? But if you want to come find the real leaders who will show our people how to love one another, to show our people, why it is that being a pedophile is wrong, being a homosexual or part of the LGBTQ community or two-spirited, however it is you want to put it. You understand? Leaders will show you why it is that is wrong and how it is that it destroys our community. I mean, you got to come to the I.S.U.P.K under Command GEN.YAHANNA. Otherwise, we're going to simply keep being played like the fools and following these leaders who do not have our best interests at hand. So, Lucky, 1 second. Going to continue reading the article. Native American leaders in this country say the trauma, loss, and suffering of the boarding school era, which pressed thousands of children through painful government-led assimilation efforts, continued to run through families and tribes, and it's past time to address it. The U.S. also has unmarked graves, said Christine Dindisi McCleave, executive officer of the National Native American Boarding School Healing Coalition, known as NABS or NABS. The organization demands inquiry into the genocidal campaign to eradicate peoples and cultures in at least 357 government and church-run schools where many children face sexual, physical, and emotional abuse. This week, U.S. Interior Secretary Deb Haaland, a member of the Laguna Pueblo and whose great-grandfather attended Carlisle, announced the creation of the Federal Indian Boarding School Truth Initiative to investigate policies that force children to assimilate. Slovakia. 1 second. It's like, and so when I look at that, like that's a great thing. It is, they've created, a whole a branch or organization in order to look into these things. But the crazy thing is, America has always known about the evil deeds it is that they have done inside of those boarding schools. You say it's something that is briefly taught in inside of your average school in America. You're saying even the whitest school in these lands, give a brief history of what it is that had happened inside of those boarding schools. At least when I went to school, it did. I don't know how it is now, because now our oppressor, being the devil that he is, he tries to rewrite the history books and say that the transatlantic slave trade alone was a volunteer type basis, where it is people migrated over here in order to seek a better life. And we already know how it is that our oppressor tries to teach that the different indigenous tribes simply gave land over to Europeans in order for them to settle and to live amongst one another. So that's just the type of things that is our devil does. It's like that the devil does. It's like it. You understand? But the fact that this so-called native it is that our people look up to, ever since she's been put into the Interior Secretary position, Deb Haaland. You understand? Like, for a woman who is so proud to supposedly be native, like how extensive of an investigation does there really have to be? You understand? Because the policies it is that they use during that time, it's the same thing that they've always been instituting upon us as a nation. You understand? They've always been forcing their culture and customs on us. They've always been looking to use violence in order to get us to fall into the program of what it is that they wanted done. And now, because this woman who was viewed as damn near the messiah of the native community, saying is in office, and all of a sudden, they want to use her as a damn near a poster child of look at how great it is that America can be. The initiative will aim to identify known and possible student burial grounds and to determine the identities and tribal affiliations of children in them. A report is due in April. We must uncover the truth about the loss of human life and the lasting consequences of the schools, Haaland said. You understand? But right here is the truth of the whole matter. You understand? The Lord let us know a long time ago. This is Deuteronomy 28, Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 50. A nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young. And saying, if you read the verse above, the Lord lets us know how He'll bring a nation against us, and in verse 50 lets us know that these people would have a fierce countenance towards not only the old of our people, but as well as the young. So what's that mean? You understand? That's something us as a nation has to understand, and to simply break it down is, essentially how it is that America has been viewing us as a nation ever since they landed over here. It's like not only America, but as well as the Europeans who came over here to create America. You understand? We'll always only be viewed as savages. You understand? As Indians, as redskins, as an uncivilized people to be subdued and enslaved by a superior nation. That's how it is that we are to always be viewed, and it's something that has been especially what am I looking for here? It's something that has been especially put into effect when it comes to our children. There's countless stories of how it is that our oppressor, would, do such brutish and devilish things to our children, which of course these boarding schools is a perfect modern example of it. You understand? That's not even talking about what it is that our oppressor did when he first invaded our lands and would dash babies against stones, would gang rape children, would feed children to dogs, just do all kinds of devilish things. And these people, will do that because they don't view us as being human. So we're nothing more than, cattle to these people, a livestock or a commodity to, not only America, but as well as Canada and any other European nation who invaded and conquered us as a people. You understand? That's the kind of spirit it is that we're dealing with inside of these lands, and it's a spirit that we've always had to deal with, and it's something that it is that our leaders should have warned us about time and time again. It's something that our leaders should have, gave out a decree telling us to stay away from time and time again. But yeah, here we are in 2021, and our leaders promote unification with our oppressor. Our leaders promote our leaders promote, loving, everybody, and whatever LGBTQ nonsense it is that they try to push on us to please our oppressor. That's the type of leaders it is that we have and that we're dealing with. And we got to stop turning to these people to try to lead us when the actions and the history of so-called leaders. It's shown us otherwise. It's shown us that they aren't fit to lead us. It's shown us that no matter what, that they're only going to look out for themselves. That's what history has shown us. You understand? Well, if we look into the history of the I.S.U.P.K under Command GEN.YAHANNA, you understand, we're an organization who has always and will always look out for our people, no matter how it is you want to put it. Let me get another article real quick. Scripture. I'm going to go to Jeremiah chapter 6 and verse 14. you a second to get there. Jeremiah chapter 6 and verse 14. They have healed also the hurt of the daughter of my people slightly. You know what I'm saying? And that's what America is doing with, it's like, you know, not only America, but as well as Canada, what they're doing with, you know, uncovering these mass graves it is that they have built up, and, you know, showing that, you know, they want to kind of right their wrongs by sending these bodies home, sending the bones of our children home to, you know, a general reservation, not even to the you know, specific family, but to a general reservation to be buried. You understand? That's what they're doing. You know, they're slightly healing, you know, that pain it is that we have been suffering from since the boarding schools. The pain it is that our families have been going through. You know, anytime they tell a story of the boarding schools and how it is that their, you know, brother or sister or you know, cousin never came home, how it is that they came up missing and were never found. You know, America and Canada are slightly healing that pain it is that they have inflicted upon us as a nation, thinking that, you know, just by doing that it's going to right the wrong it is that they have done to us. Saying peace, peace, when there is no peace. So America is sitting there saying, you know, hey, this means we're good. You know, we can be friends now. And saying there's no reason for you to be rioting over these 215 bodies found up in Canada. There's no reason for you to riot over the 751 bodies either. You know, it's all cool. We're turning, you know, 12 bodies out of the hundreds home to the reservations. You know, we don't need no smoke. You know what I'm saying? There's no reason to disrupt society. You can come back and be a productive member of society. You can, you know, go back to being a drunk and a drug addict and a whore, and go back to being poor in the reservations. You understand? We want peace between the two of us. You understand? When that peace it is that our oppressor is trying to, you know, promote or, you know, show a gesture of, it's all just a smoke screen. You see, he's still going to be oppressing us inside the reservations. He's still going to ensure that we live in poverty in the reservations. He's going to ensure that we remain drug addicts and alcoholics. He's going to ensure that our sisters still abort their babies. He's going to ensure that the sex trade of sisters and children is going to continue to go. You know what I'm saying? He's going to, you know, say what we did was wrong while at the same time doing just as wicked as they did back then. Because even though these stories are brought out, police brutality has not stopped. Mass incarceration hasn't. Murder and missing sisters most definitely hasn't stopped. You understand? The amount of children that have gone missing hasn't stopped. None of these things have stopped. Yet our oppressor wants to, publish articles and try to, make different branches and pass bills or laws. It's like not even that. So like it more of just made different branches of organizations to specifically um, you know be known for returning bodies or looking into different things. That's what he does while still oppressing us. Yes, and if the man that rules this country or the people that rule this country, if they are not the devil that the Bible speaks of, you understand? I don't know what is. Because only a devil could do that. Only a devil could sit there and, say, oh, we'll return these bodies to you. You understand? We apologize for what it is that we have done to these children. You understand? We're going to look into it so nothing like this happens again. While at the same time, they're allowing for what happened then to happen, at a grander scale to our people. You're saying because that sex trade of sisters and of children is ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? It is on an unrealistic level across, the Americas. You understand? That's just what the devil does, though. You understand? He deceives. Time check. Let me. So I had another article I wanted to get into, but due to time, time to get this. Give me 1 second. So we're gonna go to Ezekiel 34:2. I'll give you a second to get there. All right, Book of Ezekiel, chapter 34, and verse 2. Son of man, prophesy against the shepherds of Israel. Prophesy and say unto them. Yes, and that's exactly what the I.S.U.P.K does. Yes, and we prophesy against the shepherds of the children of Israel, of so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, and these so-called leaders who claim to have our best interests at hand, while at the same time, truly only looking out for themselves. Thus saith the Lord God unto the shepherds, woe be to the shepherds of Israel that do feed themselves. Should not the shepherds feed the flocks? And that's exactly what these so-called leaders do, is they, feed themselves. They make sure that their families are, living well, while at the same time, every single goddamn family and house in the reservations is living in absolute poverty. You understand? So little of us even have, running water, where we gotta, boil and filter water and travel damn near 100 miles in order to get a basic necessity in order to survive. You know what I'm saying? But our so-called leaders are not, suffering how it is that we would suffer. You know what I'm saying? They aren't going through the same thing that we go through every single day. And that's one of the, benefits of being a sellout, or to be a slave, is you are taken care of by your master, in which case is our oppressor. You understand? You don't have to worry about if you're going to go hungry, if you're going to go thirsty. You don't have to worry about how it is you're going to get from point A to B, how it is you're going to pay your bills, how it is that you're going to, protect what little bit of land it is that you have. You are taken care of, and, everything is provided for you by your oppressor, by our oppressor, Salakia. You understand? It's far easier to be the slave than to be the revolutionary that is standing up for the people, for the poor of this earth, for the most undesired nation upon the face of this planet. You know, it's far, far harder to be a revolutionary. You understand? Slaves live long, happy lives. Sellouts live long, happy lives. Meanwhile, the revolutionaries get their goddamn face blown through the back of their skulls. You understand? Except for if you're the I.S.U.P.K under Commander GEN.YAHANNA, you understand? We're the revolutionaries who know how to move in order to not only survive ourselves, but know how to move in order to help this nation survive and thrive. You understand? If you are a so-called Black, Hispanic, or Native Indian, and if you consider yourself a revolutionary and not a slave, not a sellout, you understand, then you should contact the I.S.U.P.K under Commander GEN.YAHANNA. You understand? You can Google us, look us up on, of course, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that, in order to get in contact with us. You understand? You just gotta have that fighting spirit. You gotta be able to, come up against these so-called leaders who have been leading our people astray for so long. And so that's the only way things are gonna truly change for our people. So with that, we're gonna get into the security announcements. Salakia. Oh, getting into security announcements and then the prayers. ISUPK security announcements. We are the ISUPK, starting out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. Book of Numbers, chapter 18, verse 21. Book of Malachi, chapter 3, verse 8 to 10. Means tenth in the Hebrew, Ma'ashara. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give the Treasury Department or teacher. Priest fund. It's a free will offering for priests, and it's not mandatory. It's whatsoever amount you would like. If anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, start wearing all black boots, shirt, pants, headband, or a war scarf. With that said, I'm Majim, which means to stand. Panyaki Dam, which means to turn and face the east. We're going to do the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Avanau, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Hayah, Shemka, Yahweh, Malakwaka, Daba'ah, Ratazayaka, Hayah, Aisha, Barataza, Kawa, Hayah, Bashamayim, Nathan, Lanawu, Lakum, Ko, Yawam, Wasalakanawu, Kawabawathanawu, Kasalakanawu, Kawabawathanawu, Wala'a, Dabayayanawu, Wanasaya 1, Abal, Hawashayanawu, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwith, Wa'ala, Wadaparith, Lalamyum, Aman. The Lord's Prayer in the English. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Yahweh, thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it. That says Sar, which means turn. We give a salute to the brothers, men of Israel. Majum Shabbat, Amajum, Barak, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shabrakatum. Going to give a great salute to the sisters. Amajum Shabbat, Amajum, Barak, Yahweh Shamar Al Thum by Shem Yahweh Shah. Class dismissed.